Welcome to our program. Today we are at Dock 1 with our lovely guest.
I'm Catriona, and this is Holly, my daughter, and Eileen.
And we will talk about eco-parenting because for me, Catriona is expert in eco-parenting. So let's start from what is eco-parenting for you?
Well, I guess it's mostly about really thinking about why I do things, not just doing what everyone else is doing, and wondering what's best, but also even if something seems, organic, then think about, where does it come from? How long does it travel? How do we dispose of it? So when you see the wet wipes, for instance, a lot of people are like, oh, this is without perfume. That's probably good for my baby. But in reality, if you read about it, the wet wipes were made for going traveling, like on the road. They weren't made for home because there's still preservatives in them. So even the best of the ones on the market are still not very good for baby's skin or anyone's skin. I mean, if you can clean your pots and pans with them, you probably shouldn't be cleaning your baby's skin with them. So people just think, oh, this looks good, or it says no perfume. It's probably great for my baby, and it's promoted as being good for babies in the adverts. That's like a happy baby, and it's green background, so it seems natural or good. But it doesn't have to be just because the adverts say it is. So you gotta really do your own research for just about everything. And I enjoy doing that. I find it fascinating. I learn a lot along the way about additives and preservatives. And obviously that's something I try to avoid for my children, all 4 of them. For Eileen, she will be 2 years in April, and she's my youngest, and she uses reusable cotton nappies because it's great for her skin. This is a reusable cotton nappy. There are so many kinds of nappies today, modern ones. This is with a Velcro close, so that means it's just as fast to put on as the disposable ones. But this can be washed and then reused. So basically, it's got a booster in that's really soft against baby's skin. Often they're made with hemp, bamboo, cotton, even wool mix. There's lots of different materials in it. This is a microfiber, which is super absorbent. And then as you see, this has got a really cute pattern. And so I get them with balloons and elephants, or just plain blue or red or whatever you like. You get them with buttons or with Velcro. And they're just crazy easy to use. And they're, equally good, or I would probably say better. I've never had a blowout. People talk about blowouts with nappies. You got poo all the way up the back, or they just really hold everything in. And at the same time, they're really breathable. So I never have problems with nappy rash. What also is great is that when babies use this, it doesn't absorb as much. It'll absorb so it doesn't run through the clothes, but it won't absorb so much that they don't feel what's going on. Because you want your baby to realize that they're peeing. You want them to learn as fast as possible what's going on so that you can start using a potty early on. And all of mine have been potty trained from around 2. Today, the ones you get at the shops, the disposable ones, they absorb so much. They actually take away the natural dampness from your skin, the natural oils that's supposed to be in the skin. Especially for girls, that's a problem because we need a moistness down there, and the disposable nappies will just suck that right away, which is also why that a lot of girls get yeast infections as babies when they're using disposable nappies, whereas these ones just will have a natural balance. They won't take too much. They'll absorb when you pee, but they won't absorb the natural moisture that's supposed to be there in your skin. A lot of people who use disposable ones, their children often stop using nappies around 3, some even older, because, as I said, they have a harder time experiencing what's going on because the pee's just absorbed the second it leaves your body. So they don't even know they're peeing. My kids are nearly clean 2 years faster than kids on disposables. So apart from the money saved, and it's better for kids' skin. So yes, there's not a lot of waste in the environment because I can give them these to a new mom. When I'm done, another mom can use these. So they are used for maybe 6 or 7 kids, and some people who are good, they'll repair them. I have a friend, she just fixes this when an elastic goes. She just sits down, she repairs the elastic instead of just throwing it out.
And what do you have there, this colorful thing?
Oh, I brought this because we were talking about the nappies.
Yeah,
and
but
this,
tell us more.
So this is what we call a wet bag.
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't plastic. It's something called PUL. So it's still breathable, but liquid won't pass through it unless like you're actually pouring it full of water and leaving it there for ages. So when I have a wet nappy, or if she spills like juice down her clothes or whatever, and her clothes are dirty or wet, I always bring a wet bag. So I can put whatever in here, the nappies, and then I just put this right in the machine when we come home.
And you are also promoting what I love personally, because I agree with breastfeeding.
Yes.
Why breastfeeding is better for you than, this all?
Well, basically, any time you really read about it, you'll see that the formula, the powder, contains a lot of things that are necessary building blocks for the baby, but it can't replicate what the human body does. So no matter how good a formula is, liquid or powder, it just can't give you all the things breast milk can. And then when that's said, the fact that breast milk changes all the way through, and it also changes from each child. So it's not like all breast milk for 5 months old is the same. It will be different for boys and girls, and it's also different for each girl, depending on what their body needs. And the thing is so interesting. Even though we're not aware of it, when we smell our baby, our body and our mind figures out what the baby smells like and what the baby needs, and the milk changes accordingly, and will be more creamy or less creamy or have more of different, things in it, depending on what the child's need. And your body, your mind, it's like this symbiosis where we smell each other, and then the bodies just work in harmony. And you can't replicate that in powder. It's just impossible. And obviously there's the whole nurture and comforting. There's research done of that as well. If you give a baby who's crying, if you give them a teddy bear or a dummy like a pacifier, or you rock them in your arms and you sing, or you breastfeed them, that if you monitor their stress levels, breastfeeding just far outreaches anything. So giving them a bottle or pacifier or a dummy or singing, those are all great things and very good parenting things to do with a crying baby. But breast just is something else. It's another world of comfort, and it just reduces their stress levels so fast. It comes out on top.
And is it also a part of close parenting? Because you also, for me, are a good ambassador of close parenting.
Yes, and we also call it attachment parenting. In attachment parenting, it's very important to bond very intimately with your child. So you listen for their cues, you look at their body language, you respect them. So you talk about breastfeeding for extended time. You talk about spending a lot of time with your child, but also co-sleeping, which I think is wonderful.
I also think it's wonderful, but there are many people who think that this is dangerous.
Well, the thing is, obviously there has been tragic cases of accidents happening with co-sleeping. But when you look into them, it's usually because of the mother who has been stupidly drunk or other really heavy weighing factors that would be a dangerous situation no matter what. And you wouldn't drunk drive. You shouldn't drunk sleep with your child. Then obviously you would put your child in a cot or away from you if you're not in a state. Like people who take a sleeping pill and sleep next to the child, that's stupid. You need to be in a natural state of sleep where you recognize their sounds, feel their body next to you. So unless you're taking sleeping pills or drinking too heavily, there's really no danger there, because you just intuitively feel where they are all the time.
There was a case of kids in the orphan when they was without the touch, without the hug, their total development was worse. Do you think that hugs can help kids to develop also like the brain?
Well, that's proven. It's not even just something you can discuss. Do you think it's good for them? It is. We know that the more bodily contact we have, the less stress levels the baby has, the calmer their heart rate, and they sleep better and they grow better. And it's proven, and it's very easy to monitor stress levels with small electrodes put on around baby's body while they sleep. So there's so much science made on this that sleeping close to your mother makes for better sleep. So even if you have a baby that wakes a lot at night, they will wake less than if you let them sleep on their own. And they will have a deeper sleep, like more REM sleep, that is very healthy for developing their body and their mind. So I do take it quite as a sciencey approach, even though I sound super hippie. And I really, really do my research, and it's fascinating how we see that children have a better immune system and are really less sick, less colds, less fevers. Also handle pain better. Like if they hit themselves when their teeth are coming out, they handle the pain better when you co-sleep with them, because their stress levels are just lower, which means we handle pain better.
And coming back to this close parenting, because you also have this, how you call it, to wrap your kid?
People call it baby wearing. And in my case, it's toddler wearing, because she's so big now. So basically, instead of leaving your child, even if they're calm, a lot of people will leave them in a crib when they're calm. But I don't leave my child in the crib. I will pick her up and I will hold her in my arms. But that's too heavy for any mom to carry their babies all the time. So what we do is you have a material. In the beginning, often people use what's called a stretchy wrap, and then you wrap your baby so it's like they're being held by both your arms. And it gives them that sense of being held even more than your two hands can give. Just so a lot of cultures, they wrap the child and leave them in a cot because the wrapping makes them calm, but I wrap them on my body. So I carry my child, which gives her a lot more closeness and again reduces stress levels. She can hear my heartbeat. She can feel my movements when I walk around, and they calm her right down. So even a calm baby will be more calm and more secure, and she can smell me all the time. All this helps for a deeper bonding between me and the child. Also, it means that I'm looking at her a lot more than if she was lying in the crib. So a mother who baby wears will learn faster to recognize the tiny expressions, micro expressions in the child's face to what they mean. Each child has its own language and its own signals to say what they need. Are they tired? Are they sleepy? Do they, need some stimulation? Are they getting hungry? And different babies show different signals. A few are universal, but still. The thing is, you want to learn as a mom as fast as possible to make your life easier and to faster be able to accommodate your child. Because what you want is for your child not to cry. If your child is crying, you already missed their cues. They've been trying to say they're hungry by doing like this, or smacking their lips, or putting their hands in their face. And if you're missing those cues, then you get a crying child. But if you recognize and learn your baby's body language really fast, then your child doesn't need to cry to tell you they have a wet nappy, or that they need food, or they're getting tired. You already know. You see it and you know, because baby wearing will let you be so close to your child that you learn much faster all these little cues.
Tell me about international mothers, because this is very supporting group, and also the person that started this is your very good friend, yes?
Yes, well, the international moms in Aarhus, there's a group on Facebook. There's about, 1,000, 1,500 nearly. And yes, it's super supportive because people come here to follow a partner who's working. So often often in the beginning, the women are home. And they choose to maybe have a child or two while they're in Denmark before. Sometimes they leave and go back to the country. But obviously, a lot of the moms end up staying and enjoying Denmark and like having a child here. As they find out that the Danish system for families is not bad in comparison to some other countries. So there's reasons to stay, even though it's cold and dark. So basically, in this Facebook group, moms ask often some of the same questions, but they all ask freely because they are without their natural support network. So they don't have their neighbors and their moms and aunties like they might have if they were staying in their own country. So they have their first child in a strange country with no support network. So this Facebook group is very warming and supportive, and people will often say, well, I'll come show you. You know, for instance, with the baby wearing, I'll be like, hey, I can meet up. I'll show you what I mean. I can show you how it's done, and this will give you hands-free and make your life easier. You'll be able to get yourself a sandwich, you know, which means a lot to a tired mom. So basically, there's a lot of advice people ask, and obviously there's a difference of opinion, but I think that people are usually really, really great at explaining why they do this, or do it in different ways. And there's some Facebook groups, if people have difference of opinions, they'll say, oh, but your opinion sucks, and you're stupid for saying that. And in our group, it's more, well, that's not how I do it. I do it this way, and I do it this way because this and that and that. And some people won't have a lot of reasons why they do things, but I often will explain and add a link to, for instance, what the science says. So it's not just, it's my opinion, I'm a mama for, I know everything. I don't want to be like that. So I often find people who back up what I'm saying and explain in depth why this is better, or and obviously people still need to make their own minds up, but in this group they get a lot of different views and also a lot of hands-on support. A lot of people will meet up to help each other with whatever needs to be understood around baby care or child rearing or parenting in general.
Yes, and I have two more questions. First is about your values in life. What is important for you?
I've noticed that one of the ways I'm different from some of the people I know is that when I've had my kids, they're people I want to be friends with. They're people I want to get to know. They're people that I admire and I find fascinating. I love spending time with my kids. And a lot of moms are like, oh, she's staying another hour in kindergarten because I need to go home and lie on the sofa and just chill. I'm like, I'd rather chill with my kid. So one of the ways I guess I'm different, and that's one of my family principles or my views on family, is spending time together as much as possible. So I try to have a sit down with tea when kids come home from school and ask them about their day. I know their friends' names, I know what their likes and dislikes, I know what they feel about different subjects and their teachers. I know a lot of parents will say that their kids won't tell them about their school day, nursery or kindergarten or whatever. And I'm like, well, it seems to me that perhaps if they say, how was your day? And the kid's like, fine, that the parents maybe give up a little. Anyway, because I kind of push through, I'm like, so was there a giraffe in nursery today? Did you see any horses? And they're like, no, we're reading books. Oh, did you read books? And, so I'm sneaky. I guess I kind of manipulate just a little bit, but in a friendly, funny sort of way to try and get them to talk. I also, if there's any information at all from the nursery or school, I read up on it and I make sure to say, oh, I saw you were talking about ecology today. And then we sit down and say, well, what did other people say about it? Did you say anything about it? And then you really get to talk about it. So it's not just like a 2-minute thing. We talk about our days like for a long time and really get in depth with it. So the kids realize that it really interests me. I really want to know. That means they also want to share because they realize I'm listening. I'm always listening to them. And I'm acutely aware of their signals. So if my son comes in the room, I'll be aware that he seems tense in his shoulders, or that he's, maybe kind of vacant in his eyes. And I'll be, hi, sweetie, are you hungry? Did you get an afternoon snack today? Or what's going on? Come sit with me. And then I just kind of, maybe give him a wee shoulder rub, and I keep kind of finding out what's going on, because you sense your kids are tense. And I guess that's just being really aware. A lot of families, the kids just go to each room and they come home, they grab a sandwich and they go to their rooms, and you don't see them before dinner. And then they're like, bye, and they go in and they play computer games and close the door again. And we actually spend a lot of time together in the living room or in the kitchen together. So people can be doing homework or reading and being together doing the things they like to do. Also, we are a low-tech family. No kids will go and spend the rest of the day on their computer or iPad at our house. Well, you've probably seen me.
Although it's very interesting because your husband is an IT guy.
He is. He's very geeky, but he agrees. I mean, the fact is, someone who invented the Apple computer was a very low-tech guy. And it's interesting to see that most of the high-tech companies, their kids are not allowed to use iPads at home. A lot of them are in what they're called low-tech schools. A lot of countries have low-tech schools where you don't use a computer, you use pen and paper. And obviously it's something they need to learn, but you gotta be vigilant. In my 10-year-old's class, there's maybe 2 parents. Like we're one parent group, and then I think there's one more than us that know all about the different ways of parental guides and parent settings where you can limit what your child is able to get onto on the internet. People are like, oh no, they're fine. They'll just sit with YouTube. Are you crazy? I think that a lot of parents think their kids can just manage the world. I mean, I think if you think about it, would you just take your 8-year-old and leave the middle of the town and just think, oh, we'll see you next week? You wouldn't leave your kid. But that's basically what you're doing online. If you just give them complete access to the world without any parental guides or anything set up so there's stuff they can't get onto or online-wise. So we limit the children's time, and we also talk to them about the settings, and we talk to them about why they're there. For instance, when my oldest ones, when they turned 13 and we talked about if they wanted to use Facebook, it was like we talked the whole thing about all the settings, but also about never, ever sharing pictures you wouldn't want people to see in 5 years. And also, if imagine that you have a best friend and you don't mind them sharing a picture with them in your bikini or your pajamas. But what if you're not best friends in 5 years and they save that picture? Some people aren't so kind, especially in the teenage years. Some people, when they get insecure, they will mock others to feel better about themselves. So I'm saying, even though that's your best friend right now, if you don't want that picture online in the future, it can't come online now. So we discuss that a lot because my daughter, the 10-year-old, she wants to make these funny videos where they dress up and they film themselves and they think it's lots of fun. But I am like, okay, make the videos, don't share it online. And also we talk about deleting them, even because I'm sharing them with her friend is still a risk, really, if you think about it. There's just so much online now. It's actually scary, it's important that they understand how to use email, how to get online, so they can research things for school. That's great, but there has to be limits and controls. They are just children. They still need our protection.
And the last question is about the books. What books you read? And also for me, it's very interesting because we have your older daughter. Mm-hmm. Do you have some good books for girls, like role models, like Rebel Girls or
Yes.
Pippi Langstrom or something?
Yeah, yes. Well, for the children, from when they're quite young, I really try to look at role models, like you said, Pippi Langstocking, because she's a powerful girl that does what she wants and speaks her mind. And she's not afraid to fail. And failing is so important. That's the only way to learn. And a lot of girls are more perfectionist and afraid of trying because they don't want to fail and they think it's embarrassing. And I really try and say, please, if you haven't made any mistakes today, the day's not over. We have to make mistakes. You really need to make mistakes every day and test your own limits and do stuff you're scared of. That's how you get out there and expand your world and learn. It can't be... if you look at the science, from when girls are between 8 and 10, they start believing significant less in themselves than boys do. From between 8 and 10 years old and onward, that's when girls' self-esteem just go out the window. No matter how much you parent, it's scary. So you really have to be, again, very vigilant that you try to make sure that they won't start thinking that they're not worth it, and thinking that boys are better than something. I'm like, no, they're not. I mean, Holly is the fastest girl in her class. So I'm always praising her not for her looks, but like she's got a strong body. And I try to really do that also with Eileen. It's so easy with a girl, especially if you give her a dress on, or she often asks for elastic in her hair. And it's so easy to fall into that trap that's cultural, where you'll just say, oh, you're so cute, you're so pretty. You know? And I'm like, no, you're so fast. You can go so fast. You're so strong. You're so brave. She jumps off something. I'm like, yeah, again, jump off something. Yeah, you're so strong, you know? And so I'm aware and conscious about how I speak and what words I use. I won't say I'll refrain from saying she's pretty. I mean, I think Holly's beautiful, and I'll tell her, you are beautiful. She's got black lashes out to here. Obviously, she's beautiful. But she's so much more than that, and it's very important for me that my kids know that.
That's lovely.
Especially with 3 daughters.
Especially. Thank you so much, Katriona. That was so much
Thank you.
Interesting, and thank you for being with us here today.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Holly. I'm reading this book about some cats they're fighting. I like it because I like cats and I like the nature and the things what's happening in the book. I have a cat, a hamster and a dog.
Do you like Pippi Langström?
Yeah?
Why?
She's really strong and she has red hair and she is nice and she lives in a house that's alone. She has some friends and I just like that book. There's a movie, I can't remember what it's called, but I like it. It's a parrot movie with some parrots in.